didn't like running a lot of current through PCB tracks. So if I then get a pair of snips, he said, hunting for snips with temperature here, industrially grade snips, and you put it across like that, and then you grip the wire at this mark down here, and move it up there to the second mark, and then cut down to the bottom, grip, cut. You can cut lots of these very quickly. Literally, when I was at the peak of manufacturing, I was going clip, 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 and it was that fast to cut them all exactly the same length. So that's useful to know. However, we will need one of these. Well, we actually need lots of these. This is one of these projects that it's quite, you don't have to do it all in one night. It would take a modest length of time because it does involve lots and lots of bits of wire and LEDs and solder joints. But let's start but you can spread it out over the time, you don't have to do it all at once. It's just one of these therapeutic projects that, it's the sort of thing that if you're making it for yourself, yes, that's fun. If you accidentally promised a friend you'd make a version with 100 LEDs, then you could probably regret that. It would be quite a time-consuming task. So I'm going to start by just stripping about 4mm, which is just over an 1/8 of an inch. It's somewhere, I guess that's 5/16 is probably the closest inchy type measurements. And I'm going to do that in both these red leads because I'm going to be putting the resistor dead center. And unlike other videos where I usually get all ambidextrous with the fingers, I'm going to be using, I'm going to be using a set of helping hands. Oh, incidentally, tonight's alcoholic beverage of choice is Diet Pepsi with gold-flecked moonshine. Yes, eat your heart out, Queenie. This is the home of decadence. There's no real point in this. It looks very nice, the Diet Pepsi with the gold floating in it, and it kind of, because it's carbonated, it seems to float up and down. It's just, basically it's what I had left after a recent test project, and it is genuine gold. I say it's genuine gold beef, it came from eBay, so maybe it's yellow lead. But anyway, it's interesting. That's better. So, we've got the resistor here, and I'm going to be using the helping hand because it does, in this instance, make it a lot easier. And I'm going to crop the lead down to about 6mm or 1/4 of an inch on one of the ends of the resistor. And I'm going to pop it into the helping hands just to hold it steady. And I'm going to get my generic Chinese soldering iron. This is a Yihua 8786D soldering station I'm using. And the reason I'm using this soldering station is because it also has a hot air gun, which is also very useful for this project because it uses heat shrink. And this is just a fantastic little station. The hot air gun is just worth its weight in gold, just purely for doing heat shrink. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tin the lead of the resistor. I'm going to put on some gloves, and I'm also going to put a bit of solder. This lead is the red lead, because I'm putting the resistor in the middle of the positive lead. And normally I would just say, when you've done this, normally just hold them together, reflow the solder, fine. But in this instance, for extra neatness and extra quality, I'm going to actually suggest using flux. Now the flux I'm using is just whatever came to hand, as often happens. And it turned out to be just standard. This is flux designed for soldering pipework together, copper pipework. And bizarrely, I was thinking, I wonder where this is made, and I looked in it, and it says, made in the USA, made in America. Really? That's surprising. So here's the flux. And what we're going to do is I've already tinned this lead. I'm just going to dip it in the flux, just put a tiny quantity on. And the reason for this is that the flux will ensure the solder flows. If I didn't use the flux and I reflow these together, there's a risk that if all the flux was completely gone from the previous soldering processes, then I might draw a slight peak. And the slight peak that comes off from the sort of dryish solder results in a sharp point that can poke through the heat shrink, and I want to get a fairly smooth joint. And this is ultimately going to result in a much better flowing of solder as well. So I'm going to hold these, I'm going to actually put my finger under the vise here and support this, get them right close together, and then flow them. And another thing worth noting, did you see the hiss there? Did you hear the hiss? Should I say the little cloud of vapour? That was the flux. The point of the flux is that it's going to actually help mate the surfaces together. It's going to clean the oxides off and mate the solder onto the lead. The other thing I meant to mention is that don't push the lead right up hard against the resistor, the body of the resistor. You want to keep it a few millimeters, maybe about a 16th of an inch to an eighth of an inch away from the resistor, because although this results in a much longer sort of connection here, it means that if you're bending leads and twisting them about, you're not going to have that situation that it's going to lever and put a lot of pressure against the end of the resistor and potentially damage it. So now I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to grip it in the helping hands again, and I'm going to flow solder onto the other side of the resistor. And that has using flux again. So I'm going to dip this in the flux, just tiny quantity. You don't want to scoop big handfuls of flux, and you just want to sort of wet it with flux to make a joint, and then position it again with the wire not touching the resistor body. Sweet, nice, clean, shiny joint with no peaks. Lovely. And a strange smell of potato fries for some reason. Yes, I know this is from America, but yeah, really, it smells like chips. That's interesting. It smells quite nice, actually. It doesn't smell chemically, it does actually smell like I've just fried up a large portion of potato fries. So that's the resistance.